He says, what's the best way to motivate already talented athletes? Interesting one, that one.
If they're talented and lazy, how do you know they're talented? Is it by their actions in performance, or their actions in training, or is it just a gut feeling, or are they just better than the people that are around them? So there's the first few questions for you. But for me, it's again, I've almost answered it on that other point, is stimulate where they're driving their challenges towards their own goals and aspirations. Let's see what's going to stimulate them, see what's going to press their buttons, and then set some scenarios up to let them to drive towards that. If you look at we've got some rugby players in the room, so Johnny Wilkinson, ever you've seen him work, ever you spoke to players that worked with him, the one thing he had is he had a great work ethic, but he defined his own challenges, so he'd turn up earlier from training and he'd do extra stuff towards his own goal to get him better, because if he did the training, it wouldn't be enough for him to stimulate his own enjoyment and his passion towards being the best he could be. So it's back to having those conversations with those people. One, do they really want it? And secondly, what would stimulate them? What would make it challenging enough for them so they'd have to challenge themselves within a training environment? And that, for me, is the big questions you need to ask those people. They may not want it. So sometimes talent doesn't necessarily mean that they have the desire to achieve. You've got to find out they've got to have the desire. If they haven't got the desire and you can't influence that, then really, to be honest, you're probably wasting your time. Because if they haven't got the desire to put in the hard work, that talent isn't going to get them anywhere in the long run when you're competing about the best. That's the simple reality, and you've probably worked with people yourselves in this room that have that. It's your ability of an influence to see if you can influence that to get them stimulated towards using that talent through hard work to develop it into something special. But no will, it's not going to happen.
Those of you who've seen me present on the talent equation will know that I think that question isn't quite phrased right, because I don't believe that you can be called talented if you haven't got the drive, determination, the will to succeed. I think those two things are combined. That's what talent really is.